Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to our Schoen podcast. Today, we are going to be meeting with Rachel Elmer. Rachel is a 2024 graduate and a Schoen Fellow, and Rachel will be sharing her research with us. Today, we're also joined by our Schoen Fellows coordinator, Dr. Brenda Boyer. And Brenda is going to start off asking our questions of Rachel today.
All right. So, welcome, Rachel, and welcome everybody out there in library land. So, Rachel, first of all, congratulations on your recent graduation and also being one of our select Schoen Fellows. Can you just tell us a little bit about the fellowship and what led you to explore the project that you did?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and to see you both. Absolutely. So, the Schoen Fellowship was an incredibly meaningful experience for me at Rutgers. I came into the library program first thinking I wanted to be a public librarian, and then I met Dr. Valenza, who convinced me to be a school librarian. And one of the things that I was most insecure about, I would say, was my research background. I had somehow managed to get all the way through college, a BA from Yale with no research experience whatsoever. And I was concerned about my ability to teach research without having done it myself. So the Schoen Fellowship was huge for me as a learner to be able to have the experience of starting from forming a research question through learning how to do inductive coding, which Dr. Boyer, you talked me through, to finalizing my research product. And now as a teacher, I teach a research class, and I start every semester telling students that very same thing that I just told you, that it was something I was insecure about. I learned how to do it when I was 35. They can learn it now. And it really was just tremendous for my growth and my professionalism in this field.
That's
And
wonderful.
oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead. Go
I
ahead.
chose this topic. My project was about the role that school library media specialists can play in the college admissions process, in supporting students through that process. And that is a topic that is very close to my heart because my career for the 15 years before I transitioned into this world was as a college counselor. So I spent 15 years helping high schoolers apply to college. And when I started the program, I thought that that wouldn't have much to do with my future work. And as I went on, I realized just how wrong that was. And Dr. B, I think you have said to me that the college process is the biggest research project a student's going to do, right?
Yeah.
This is a process of information literacy. And I was
Mhm.
seeing such a paucity of discussion of that in textbooks and resources that we explored. We don't talk a lot about how school librarians can support that process, even though they are. Nor do we talk a lot about how school librarians can connect with the guidance office. So much of
Yeah.
the outreach is focused on teachers. And so that was what I really wanted to explore in my research.
That's wonderful. And we understand that that exploration of the college connection is helpful to you right now in your current position as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It is. So one of the conclusions of my research was that a model that could be very successful for librarian and counselor collaboration is a seminar style class. This is something that exists at some high schools, typically taught by the guidance office. At my high school, we have freshman, sophomore, and junior seminar classes. I teach sophomore seminar, which is new this year, and we've been designing the curriculum and revising it as we go. And it introduces the college admissions process. And it is a perfect model because I have a captive audience 4 days a week and the same number of periods that, English teachers have them. And the amount that that allows me to fill information gaps is tremendous. And um, it really shows that that style and infrastructure can be very, very powerful, I believe. And my training has helped me a great deal in being able to deliver that. And then we also have a whole inquiry-based research section of the class, and we're talking about AI use and misuse as well, which is of course librarian territory, big time. Yeah.
Excellent. So let's talk a little bit more about your research. And you talked about what brought you to looking at the counselor and librarian collaboration and working together to help kids with that college um, early process. So, can you share with us a little bit about your findings and what you discovered, a little bit how you designed the research project that you did?
Sure. And I think one thing I'll add that I don't think I said is the reason I'm so interested in this is because of what an equity issue the college admissions process is and the information gaps in the college admissions process. And I believe so deeply that school librarians, our mission is to fill information gaps, right? And so that's it's so core to that identity as an educator, and I wanted to explore that. After a lot of conversation with you about how to approach it, 18 months ago or whenever we started, I ultimately decided to conduct interviews. So I had spoken informally with people at a couple different conferences, at an admissions conference I attended, and then in JSOL. And that was enough to help me realize that interviews could yield some really meaningful data for me. And it was just a question of how to structure that and how many I could do in the time frame. So I ultimately decided to interview both school librarians and guidance counselors because that was what I saw as a gap in the literature. There's a lot of stuff just for guidance counselors and a lot of stuff just for librarians and nothing that was talking to both of them. So that was what I ultimately focused on. And I was able to interview 3 of each at different high schools in New Jersey. One was in New York, the rest were in New Jersey, to try to keep it focused on our area as much as we could.
Excellent. And you had some interesting findings as well. Can you just share a little bit about the findings?
I did. So one of the things that I expected based on my many years of experience and based on informal conversation was that guidance counselors were going to be very territorial about this process. And one of the biggest findings I had was that they were much less territorial than we might think.
Mm-hmm.
And instead, librarians assumed they would be territorial and so didn't ask, which is very unlibrarian-like, in my opinion, based on how much I learned from both of you about how proactive librarians are all the time in advertising what we can do. So I think one of my biggest conclusions is that there's really an information gap on the part of the practitioners here on both sides. The school counselors desperately need help, desperately. There's no question. I knew that was going to bear out in the research. It did. And it has not occurred to them that the school librarian could be a partner for them. And then the school librarians, who are themselves, time poor and overextended, assume that the guidance office doesn't want them to help them. So it's not a primary focus for them in advertising their abilities and the ways they can change the culture of the school. And so we need to get them thinking about each other and how they can work together.
It's such an opportunity, Rachel.
Yes, it really is.
It's really fertile ground where the two different skill sets can really benefit the students.
Yes. And I'm so glad you said that because one of the things that I was really happy to see was that the school counselors, all of them with no prompting from me, identified the skills that a librarian would bring to the process that would benefit them, which was approaching it like a research project. They all acknowledge that they don't have the time to invest in each student in that deep way that students deserve and would benefit from. And we're imagining a librarian pushing into their seminar to do that, or also the library space as a place to be more centered around the college process. That was a big takeaway for a lot of them as well. So yeah, I agree. There's so much.
What I love about this project is that it has the markings of the things that are sticky about research. It's authentic. It's connected to need. It's also personal, right? It's about me. me as a student, and what could be more interesting than a decision I'm going to make for the rest of my life that is going to impact the rest of my life, and a decision that has a lot to do with who I am.
100%. There's so much reflection in
Mm-hmm.
this process, and students really need experts to guide them through it. It's very scary for them, the same way my Schoen project was scary for me, and I needed Dr. Boyer to tell me it was going to be okay. Yes, I completely agree.
That's great. Yeah, I think you really stumbled upon almost like a really wonderful need in the field. And I'm so excited about the whole outcome of your project. And I really believe this is an important project that needs to be shared widely. And so I would also encourage you to think about presenting your findings at some more conferences, or even consider writing about it and so on, because it's
And I think, Dr.
powerful.
Boyer, I think also the fact that Rachel is actually implementing this in practice, this is exactly what action research is about,
Absolutely.
right? So
Yeah.
you've identified a problem or a question, and now you're actually using the findings from your research to inform your practice.
Absolutely.
And so if you didn't write something before as a result of your initial research, now you have another kind of spectrum to look through,
Right.
because this is you can evaluate this in terms of now you can look at your connections with the guidance counselors where you are, and see what the results are and what might be improved, and what might inform others as they implement similar projects.
That has definitely been on my mind. And I do think my lens has expanded. In my capacity at my current school, I am technically an ESL teacher. That's what I also teach part-time. And then the other teachers who teach the course I teach are the AP literature teacher, other English teachers, and some business and career teachers. So it's a
Mm.
very interesting opportunity to consider collaboration with the guidance office beyond the school library media specialist, and building out protocols that could exist in a lot of different
Yeah. What
models.
you're describing is a
Yeah.
model.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so I I'm just so thrilled to learn about your professional position. And as Dr. Valenza said, it's almost as if it were planned that we
And
have this additional phase of your research now. It's incredibly powerful, these discoveries you're making, and the true relevance and authenticity for your students, and just bringing them to information literacy through this really uniquely and highly relevant process for them. So it's very exciting.
thank you. I've been very excited doing it. And it was, I reread my paper in preparation for this call, and I was laughing reading some of it and just seeing that it's exactly what I am doing. Um, felt feels good to see something like,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Rachel, for this tremendous contribution that you are just beginning to make to the field of librarianship. And Dr. Valenza, I'm sure, will join me in
Yeah.
saying we have all of the faith in you possible, because we know that you're an up and coming leader in school librarianship.
And we're really excited to share this interview and your research with the Schoen folks, and also with our students who are going to be following you and the rest of the library world. So thank you so much for being with us today and for reflecting on your work.
Thank you. I would not be here without either of you. So thank you so much.